Hey, welcome back. It's your second favorite channel, Random Comics for my spinner rack. The first one is just called Drew Geraci, Geraci. So, getting down to Micra, which was a comics interview publication. Comics interview was exactly what it says. It was an interview where David Anthony Kraft was the interviewer. He had worked for Marvel for better part of the 70s. He was most notably on Defenders. He did some Man-Wolf stuff too, and he did, I don't know, he did a lot of stuff. So, but he expanded into comic books as well as fanzines. And, I've said this before, in the mid-80s, funds were tight, and I couldn't see myself spending $1.75 on a book when a good DC or Marvel was 75 cents at the time. And but I thumbed through a lot of them. When I used to go to this one comic shop that doesn't exist anymore, that didn't really do much business, and me and the main guy who worked there, we just sort of hung out. We would bullshit for hours, and I would go look at the rack, and this is before everything was bagged and boarded, and I was constantly thumbing through so many books, and eventually I would buy some, but I'm surprised. It was a library as opposed to, this ain't no library, kid. And the guy just enjoyed my company, I guess. I must be pretty special. I don't know. Not really. So, I'm okay in small doses. So, anyway, Micra, mind-controlled robot automaton. Beautiful wraparound cover. Really love that. She could save America or destroy it. The most terrifying weapon ever created. Wraparound painting by Ted Boonthanatic. Boonthanatic, 86. I apologize. It's a tricky name. And written by Lamar Waldron. And, man, that's great. That's like, that has a gold key kind of feel to it. So, the book is really impressive. They also published Southern Nights for a while, early on. Butch Guy stuff, as well as Chuck Wojciechowski, who I worked with on Justice League America around 95 or so. This book is, to me, is as good as anything Marvel or DC were putting out at the time. Dwight John Zimmerman, who was a constant contributor to Amazing Heroes and other fanzines as a reviewer. He would write articles, just background stories on old characters and for modern fans. And I don't know quite what he did. He did a lot of other stuff, but just I don't recall exactly. But Ben Boone, give me a second. Boonthanatic. Sorry. Let's get past that. I'm wasting all this time. Beautiful use of tones on this. It's black and white. They're making the most of it. That's essential if you're going to do a black and white comic. And it's not even overpowering. So if you were to add even flat color on top of this, it would look wonderful. It would look great. So, that artist, I looked up his name, and he early on, like late 80s, he got to doing storyboards for both live features and animation. So he just moved on, but he did some amazing art. What I find interesting is on the main character, he kind of tapped into Patrick Nagel's work. Patrick Nagel did the famous Duran Duran cover, Rio, and the other works of Patrick Nagel were used in pretty much every hair salon in the USA, and probably beyond that, like like they would have it painted on a window. And the main character, she's really like a self-centered bitch. She's calling her a bitch, but she's just kind of too busy in her own head to pay attention to an important demonstration. And she's relaxing. That is a great pose. That's really great way to draw clothes, and it's fashionable too. That's one thing people who try to break into comics don't remember, is you have to really pay attention to fashion trends. It's like even looking at well, back, there used to be catalogs that would come in the mail all the time, and you would see, you still get them once in a while, but you'd see the latest fashions, and you'd pay attention to it, even if it seemed boring compared to having somebody punch somebody else out on the screen. Well, this main character, she's a spoiled, entitled brat who's she's really unlikable. I remember halfway through this, it's very professional, but I found myself hating her, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm not going to read issue 2 of this, because she is such a blankety blank. And the artwork and the writing is really magnificent stuff. Well, what happens is an accident puts her in the equivalent of a future version of a iron lung, where she can't move at all, and she rethinks her life. And I think it's really well done. It takes her your damn therapy won't do me any good. So she still has the attitude, but she knows she's helpless, and she's soul searching after a period of time. This splash page is just really out of this world. It's really, really great. Not a lot of artists can pull that off. So, she's talking to this guy that she used to snub. She actually blew him off for a date and went out with somebody else. But this guy came back, and he forgives her, but he's kind of encouraging her to get better. Man, I love that face there. Love those eyes. So anyway, what happens is they put her mind into Micra, an android. So good stuff. Really, really good. And so like I said, I paid $1 or $2 for this. So next is the brand new Microbots. I knew nothing of this. A lot of people didn't know either, because it was a one-shot to promote a toy line, which was interesting because it was over the counter. A lot of times a comic book promoting a toy line would be inside the comic, or it would be in some other format. But it's really, really interesting. It's written by a very young Len Wein. We're talking, I think, before Swamp Thing, because the era is December 1971, which would peg this at about September 71, because books are always like 3 or 4 months ahead of behind the date that's on there. It's a long story, but it's written. I had to look up the names. Len Wein, the writer, co-creator of Swamp Thing, and he worked at Marvel in the 70s, DC in the 80s, and animation. Jack Sparling is the penciler, and Jesse Santos is doing the inks. And I really enjoyed this. I really thought it was. I was hoping there was more, but wow, it's so great. The script is really good. I mean, Len Wein, he's touch and go with me on a lot of stuff. Selling jewels. It's so funny though, because when you're a kid and you're buying comics, you're not usually, that's not your target audience to buy rings. At this age, you usually outgrow comics and move on to cars and girls and stuff. So this is a future place where there's like a hydropod, which is elephant / squid. And wow, I love the rendering on the face. I like that running pose there. That's very Wally Wood, when he would do his later sword and sorcery stories. And for an indie book, to have the black parent figure to be African American, as well as his son, who he and the young blonde boy, they both are the main characters. That was pretty cutting edge for like a non-Marvel book, because DC was just starting to, realize there was more than just white people out there. And Marvel had done for so we love that face. Wow, that is just really fantastic stuff. And I found myself really enjoying it and looking. Oh, here we go. Okay, everything's great on here. I love that red face in the foreground. When you show somebody tense in the foreground, you just give it a solid red. Man, that always gets me every time. It's just so exciting. The This is supposed to be a tree, just like that's a tree, but somebody screwed up and colored it blue, so it looked like they looks like they propped up this. What do you call it? I can't think of the name of it. A tank. Yeah, a war tank. Yeah. So that looks like it got jacked up and stalled. So that was a really bad color job because it creates a tangent. Tangent. That's how you say it. Probably. Yeah. All right, I'll stop making annoying noises. Go back to my regular noises. So anyway, this was actually it was a one-shot to sell toys, and I managed to find these on the internet as well. So I don't know where this was advertised because it wasn't in the comic, but here come the Microbots and Hooktor, Liftor, and pretty much describe what they do. And I'm looking at these. I'm thinking BattleBots. Like for the last 20 years or so. I love that show, BattleBots. So it's kind of ahead of its time. Really, really cool stuff. And unfortunately, it wasn't successful. It didn't really go anywhere, but it was a nice attempt. It's simple, but I think it had potential. So, Microchip. I don't have any Punisher comics except for like the first miniseries, and it's not because I don't like the Punisher per se. I like superheroes. These are more like these are more like revenge fantasy stories, which I do like also. But I'm just not Punisher to me. I always liked him as a guest star, but I wasn't interested in buying his ongoing books. The origin of Microchip. He is, for lack of a better word, he's a sidekick. Whereas Frank Castle goes out and gets his hand dirty, Microchip is a genius who he can maneuver money. He can he can maneuver other stuff for Frank to in his war against crime. Like he'll take funds from drug dealers, corporations, and stuff like that. And I'm not saying like pharmaceutical. I mean like there's a lot of these cartels. They also have like a corporation that may not have that have sort of a front that you don't know. And he supplies all kinds of weapons and transports and stuff like that. And he was there for quite a while, and it was great because it just made perfect sense. Because Punisher can't just go along hopping rooftop to rooftop or something. He supplies weapons. He was around for a long time. He died. Gosh, like I don't know. He died like 5, 6, 7 years into his introduction around 1990. So. Anyway, let's go back to Microbots for a second. Microbots reminded me of the Microbot from Big Hero 6, one of the best animated movies of the modern era that never gets any love, never gets any attention. It's so fun and it's endlessly rewatchable. Big Hero 6, look it up. And, a little bit of thunder. Got the doggies a little shook up. That's okay, mutts. Mutts are sweethearts. So, from Microbots to Micronauts. Michael Golden. This is his final issue. Did the first 12 issues. And the dead lines, which means like there's no thin to thick lines here, works great in contrast to the main visual. And the Croyer, this is a toy line also. And this one succeeded for a long time. It succeeded for 59 issues, 2 double-sized annuals, and then 20 issues of a second series. So it was, this was just magnificent. To see Michael Golden go from where he was in issue 1 to issue 12, it's just a masterclass on how to evolve and improve while you're under the gun doing a monthly book. So this is post, they took care of Baron Karza. Now they're celebrating. Al Milgram's doing the inks. And he provides a nice, bold style. And I had a Biotron. And, it would convert it to a tank, sort of. You turn it around a little bit. So this was kind of like Microbots, but improved, and it predates Transformers. It really does, because so many of these characters, this guy here who is who's a centaur, you could take the torso off and put it on a regular character. That's it with Barrett Cars. But they didn't last. I don't know how long they even lasted, because I only had the Biotron. So, yeah. So many comic artists learned from Michael Golden from this. That's great. He's telling the story, and he's getting up in a very casual manner. And he has a blood feud with his brother, who's an albino. And blames the world because he's an albino. He was a misfit growing up, but he never got over it because his brother was the king to be. Kind of Thor and Loki. So, wow. Excellent. So we go on to Captain Victory, some very late era Jack Kirby. And oddly enough, I enjoy this book. So here's the Microtroops. Trying to keep in the micro theme. I totally ignored these when they came out because I was like, oh, it's so awful, it's so stiff, it's so Kirby's so over. Oh. PC Comics lasted about a year or so. They were Pacific Comics was a distributor, like Diamond Distributor. There were a whole bunch of distributors throughout the country, which was kind of cool because you had a lot of choices. And then Diamond basically had what is known as a benign monopoly. They had a monopoly, but there was, for some reason, I guess somebody didn't pay somebody in Washington to break up Diamond at the time. So whatever. This was it was a dollar book, and at the time, Marvel Comics and DC were only 60 cents. So again, it's like, well, it's not even any of the characters I grew up with and loved. And however, the inks by Michael Thibodeau, however you say his name, I really like it. Mike Royer is good, but I've always felt that I know Mike Royer is a legend. I know he's 10 times better than me, and that's fair, but I just have an opinion that I thought his stuff could have done a little bit to flesh out Kirby, some of the even more stiff stuff that Kirby would do. Colorist Steve Olaf, who would create all the optics later on. He became the colorist of Spawn for Todd McFarlane. Just one of the best. He really was a breakout colorist. Like, he knew his stuff. So, but I mean, looking back now, it's a terrific read. I mean, you're seeing a lot of the classic Kirby stuff there. And you're seeing even new, these designs, just comes up with them in his mind. So like that kind of face, it's a little more fleshed out. I love that it's a circle, but it fits. It's weird. It's like a fine art drawing. Oh, wow, that's the stuff of nightmares. Really creepy stuff. But yeah, he's just going for. Oh, this is the Lightning Lady who controls the Insectrons. Oh, here's an ad for next issue's backup, The Missing Man by Steve Ditko, which is really good. I don't have a copy of it with me, or I do, but I chose this one because of the Microtroops on the cover to keep with my my theme. That is Colonel Tufton, I think his name is, the lion guy. And there's, what's funny is, he looks like Triton, but a little more cartoony. I guess, yeah, that means one of their fresh food channels, talking about these cannibal creatures. But always with the quotation marks, I have this theory that Kirby used quotation marks a lot because he was writing on the fly. Like he never plotted out a whole book. He would do one panel, second panel, blah, blah, blah. He would always go forward, never look back. And I think like if he's hurrying, he may just put that quotation mark in there and think, well, I'll fill it in with a better phrase next time, later on. But that later on never came. So that's sort of his thing. And but I love it. I love it. And it seems like Kirby's even more enthused because he owns this. It's 100% him. And it really would make, the whole story would make a really good animated movie, I think. It's not like, Goozle Bobber. It's, it's kind of it's a comedy thing, but it's, I don't know. A lot of people love it. Love this little guy. It's just meant to be silly, and it is, but, that's alright. I'd rather have more Captain Victory. That's just me being selfish. So, here's the fall of the Goozle Bobber. So, that's it. That is your comics for this episode. And and what else? And a little bit of that. So, hope you enjoyed it, and I wish you a great day or a great night whenever you're watching this, and take it easy. Please double check that you're still subscribed. Wait a second, make sure you're still subscribed, because YouTube's been doing a screwball algorithm thing where the subscribers drop off. It's a lot of pages, a lot of YouTube home pages that much bigger than mine, that end up having subscribers drop off because of some stupid algorithm is probably just trying to chip away at them. It sounds paranoid, but it's just goofy. So please double check if you've been subscribed, and hit like, or hit the bell for notifications. And that's it, everybody. I'll have some more comic books soon. Best to all of you.